So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff.
You're about to join John
and Eric
as we explore said stuff.
Really bad movies, Sega Genesis,
Sports and girls. The interesting aspects of pop culture.
and we'll answer listeners' mail because you have so much to say.
You are listening to
A sophisticated conversation.
Greetings and welcome to episode 12 of Podcast Revolution. You might notice that Eric's not being annoying and saying episode number 12 like 30 times in a row right behind me. That's because Eric's not here today. Frenchie is filling in for him. Frenchie, where's Eric today?
Well, today, we waited for him all day. He said something about a Degrassi marathon. And then he texted us a little earlier and said he was going to see the new Twilight movie.
Wow, that sounds very much like him.
I can't believe it. Like, I didn't think he was like that.
Might as well be riding a horse into the theater. Returning as a guest on the show is Kevin Stein, also known as K-Jizz, for his third appearance. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
Not bad. It's nice to be back.
All right, so it feels a little different without Eric here. So, Frenchie, what do you have? What are you bringing to the table tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to do a quick minute on LeBron James, if that isn't much of a problem for the viewers.
All right. Well, I know most of our listeners don't like hearing about sports, but if you can bang it out really quickly, then let's jump right in. Let's get to it.
Yeah, well, I feel like something has to be said because no sports athlete should have a 1 hour long special on ESPN about what team they're going to. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Larry Bird. I don't care if it's Sidney Crosby or Michael Jordan. It should not have been done. I very much do not like LeBron James.
How do you feel for the city of Cleveland, who just got broken up with on national TV?
I feel terrible. I really do feel absolutely terrible.
That city has nothing going for it right now.
The Cleveland Indians are bottom dwellers. I mean, now
the Browns
are... Who's that quarterback?
Okay, just how do you feel about the LeBron situation?
I just got one thing to say. Go Gilbert.
Go Gilbert.
Gotta respect the Cavs owner.
Oh, yeah?
Gotta respect him for his message.
Well, why don't you describe the message for the listeners who don't know about it?
Basically, trying to bring the Cleveland fans up a little bit after LeBron pretty much ditched them on national television. And basically calling him a traitor and revealing LeBron for what he actually is.
So would you say that's an accurate, would you say his letter was accurate, Frenchie?
I would have to say it was pretty accurate. I mean...
Do you think it was a little harsh of him to come out and do that?
Well,
Good public relations?
You could say that because, I mean, LeBron, his main concern is to win a championship. He was getting paid the same amount of money whether he was in Cleveland, Miami, whether he went to Chicago, whatever. But his main concern is to win a title, and maybe he didn't deserve to necessarily be called a traitor because he wasn't going to win one in Cleveland.
And I do have to make a retraction. In the last episode, I said I didn't think he'd go to Miami. I said I thought he'd go for a max deal and try to make as much money as he could. And he actually took less than he could. And he's still making millions of bajillions of dollars, so it probably doesn't even matter to him.
We'll still lose to the Celtics, so it doesn't matter.
And then the Celtics can lose to the Lakers again, right?
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I do.
It's still painful.
That was a great moment in sports history.
Yeah, Ron Artest. Not even talking about the basketball game after. Talking about his new CD.
Yeah, Ron Artest, one of the players on the LA Lakers. As soon as they won the championship, they asked him how he felt, and he started promoting his CD, his rap album, which is probably god awful.
Yeah, not how he single-handedly kept the Lakers in the game because he was the only one scoring, but about his new rap album. Oh, my.
Oh, boy. So we're hoping Eric's having fun at Twilight right now. And, actually, I wonder if any listeners are still here. Most of the people love Eric. That's why they send him so many emails. Not. Eric hasn't gotten a single email. Well, I guess he's gotten a single email. But besides that, nothing really addressed directly to him.
Nothing at all.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Frenchie got a slew of emails after this.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll see what happens. I would just like to rub that in Eric's face, so hopefully it works. So please send me an email.
Boy, maybe even Cages can get some. Would you like to get some email, Cages?
Sure, I'm on here enough, so we'll see.
Alright, he's been on a quarter of our real episodes, so I'd like to applaud you for showing such dedication.
Thank you.
When are you going to bring Trevor back to the studio?
I don't know. I gotta figure out what he's doing.
Is he too busy hunting moose and eating them?
I guess.
I don't think it's moose hunting season quite right now.
Not yet.
Yeah, I think that's more later in the year, more like November, late October.
So
But same thing.
okay. So one thing I was talking about earlier with Eric, and he said it would be a good idea for the podcast, so I'm going to do it without him, is finding a justice of the peace for the wedding. Now, for my wedding, I didn't realize that you could just get a justice of the peace. You have a friend do it and take a class online for $20 and get one in 20 minutes. So if I knew that, I would have just had a friend be the justice of the peace. Instead, we went out and hired one, which I'm sure she'll do a good job if she's experienced. So it'll be good. But Frenchie, what would you do if you were getting married now with this knowledge?
Well, with this knowledge, I would definitely have, I would have my best man come. And if someone was another good friend, I would ask them to be my justice of the peace. If I couldn't make them my best man.
Would you potentially consider Cages to be your justice of the peace?
It's potential.
It's potential. Cages, if someone stepped up to you and approached you and asked to put the ball in your court, would you allow it?
First, I'd wonder what they were on, but I don't know. I'd probably do it.
You'd probably do it?
Yeah.
You'd pay the $20 and get the license? That would be interesting to be
It is worth it. I mean, if you think about it, you pay $20 to get the class, you get paid a couple $100 each time you do it. I mean...
And you get to be up there in the spotlight, helping with the spotlight, and you get to be the one who tells them to kiss each other. You get to be the initiator, the enabler of everything.
You bring them together before God.
And, yeah, if you're that kind of... That's not a justice of the peace, though. They don't do it before God.
Well,
Justice of the
whatever.
Pieces don't care about God.
You're right.
No, that's me being silly. But there's a lot of people who are I know people who are against Justice of the Pieces because it's sacrilegious. They say, I think that's just ridiculous. Who cares?
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. Whatever you want to do should go. It shouldn't matter.
No, I mean it's some people take things too seriously. I mean, we're not in the medieval times anymore.
Nah, this is 2010.
So, I mean, I'd be a justice of the peace and wear a... No, I'm not even going to say it. That will offend too many people.
Yeah.
But
just let it go.
Choice.
But yeah, I think it's silly if anyone gets offended by having justice of the peace. And if any of those people are listening to our show, I challenge you to come in and debate me. Please do. It would make for interesting radio. But, yeah, so, what's going on in your life right now, Frenchie?
In my life, really, not a heck of a lot. I mean, I'm trying to plan for your wedding, for your bachelor's party, and all that good stuff.
Well, hopefully you run that better than you run some of the processes you do in putting this show online.
Yeah, Hey, you know what? I came before the audience. I admitted it. Let's just move on, all right?
All right, that's fair enough. Fair enough. You do a good job for the most part. I'm one of our friends, Josh Roberts, who I affectionately refer to as Jason Bateman because I think he looks like him when he's unshaven.
He's a great goaltender, by the way.
Yeah, a great athlete overall. But Josh was pointing out that sometimes the volume levels in the commercials are a little off, and we noticed that too. But we are trying to work on that. So, Frenchie, you've been put to task.
So, Josh, if you're listening, I will fix that. I promise. Just for you.
All right. And, Cages, how many episodes have you actually listened to at home?
Not too many as of yet. I'm getting there.
So is it pretty much you've been on more episodes than you've listened to?
Probably.
That's shameful,
Yeah,
Cages.
it's unfortunate.
All right.
How can we have this guy on our show when he hasn't even listened to more than he's actually been on?
Well, let me... actually, you've listened to them all since you've helped us with all of them.
That would be correct.
All right, well, you win this round, Frenchie. The intern / stand-in for Eric. So, I know most of you with Eric are used to him saying outrageous claims and statements like that. So, hopefully we'll be able to fill in those the outrageousness in this episode.
We'll try, but I'm going to tell you right now, I will not degrade the feminine race.
You won't. So you
Like-
want to have daughters.
Unlike Eric does. I'm not going to say that I necessarily want to have daughters.
But you don't want 12 sons either.
I don't want 12. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'd probably kill yourself.
That's like 11 too many right there.
All right. Well, actually, we were speaking earlier. You're a junior, and you want your son to be the third. Is that just because you feel like your name's important? Or is that... why are you doing that, Frenchie?
Well, in my family, all the firstborn sons are named after their fathers.
Is that a Jewish thing?
No, it's a French thing.
It's a French thing.
I'm very much French.
All right.
It's a Bordelaise tradition, so just got to do what you got to do, you know?
All right,
Can't break it.
So what if your wife is absolutely against the name Michael for her son?
Well, she wouldn't be my wife unless she would be for it. I would not marry her. I'll tell you right now.
So this would be a topic of conversation well before the ring came out.
I'll tell you right now, absolutely, 100%.
All right. Well, what about when it comes to a daughter? Is there wiggle room there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's fair. There would have to be wiggle room for the daughter when the name of the son's already predetermined.
Okay.
Would your wife be able to name your daughter after herself?
If she wanted to, yeah. I mean,
That's another interesting thing. How come there's a lot of men who carry on their names, but there's not a lot of daughters who have the same name as their mother? What's the deal with that?
I mean, if you female listeners out there could tone in on this and let us know why that is, that'd be great. Because as a man, I have no idea.
There's no Jennifer Juniors
There's
or
no
Holly Juniors.
Melissa Juniors.
Maybe that, or would it be a different word than junior? Is junior like the masculine version of the second? What would a feminine version be?
I mean, I can't even think. What would it be?
We pose this to you guys to come up with something and let us know.
Email us or call in or whatever, please. Just help us out.
Podcast Revolution needs to help revolutionize the institution of naming children.
All right, so what's the email that these people can tone in and let us know on this?
I believe that's podcastrevolution@gmail.com. And in fact, we're going to get to some of those emails after the break.
I want to grow up on...
Oh yeah? Well, if you want to be really big and really strong, I highly suggest that you go to www.myhfpn.com/exertfitness, EXERT fitness.
What's going to happen when I go there?
You're gonna find that it has all your health and fitness needs as far as equipment and supplements to help you go big and strong like me.
Do they have any trainers I can go look up?
If you are in the LA area, you can have Scott Welch help you out. He is a friend of Podcast Revolution, the biggest, strongest podcast in podcast history.
Yay!
And we're back. Wasn't that a special commercial?
I liked it. It was really good.
All right, so as we promised, we're going to get into the emails and get right into it. So here's Josh Roberts' email. Actually, we're just going to read the first section, and it's like 2 sentences. So, Cages, why don't you take it away?
All right. So over the last 3 days, I've listened to every episode. You've made leaps and bounds from the first episode when it comes to content and segues.
Well, I thank you, Jason Bateman. I'm glad you enjoy our content and our segues, which are the commercials. And a lot of people really like our commercials. They find them to be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, we write them ourselves. So, I mean...
I wouldn't say write, since there's not really any
not
writing that
all right,
go on. Improvise.
we improv them ourselves, and, I mean, we do a good job.
And Josh also, he goes on to explain that he digs the commercials, but he'd like a better job of balancing the audio, so take that to heart, Frenchie. He says, yell at the intern, perhaps. So we won't yell at Frenchie, we'll just give him a pat on the back, say, good job, but step up the game.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Josh. I don't need no more yelling.
You don't need no more yelling. That's great grammar. Maybe we should bring you back to school, too.
Maybe I need a little more yelling.
And Josh gave us some suggestions, which we're going to follow up on. We'll get to some of the other ones later, but one he brought to our attention was it has to do with the movie Kick-Ass, which, for those of you who don't know, is a superhero movie in which it's just a normal kid who tries to be a superhero, and it doesn't work so well for him at first, but then with some help, he gets a little bit better.
Yeah,
it's a hilarious movie. Probably the best movie of 2010 so far.
I'd have to say, I mean, I saw it. It was absolutely hilarious. I mean,
It's funny, but it was good, too.
It was really, really good. Really done well.
And so apparently he found a story online with a video accompanying it of a kid in Colombia who's called the Viper, who's actually trying to fight crime himself. He's trying to find people and report it to police.
Apparently he patrols the area with 2 plastic sticks
And
and
throwing
real
swords.
life throwing ninja stars.
Yeah, stars, yeah.
I mean, plastic sticks, but then he's got real throwing stars.
Well, would you be intimidated by a guy with plastic sticks?
I'd be intimidated by a guy with throwing stars, but I mean, maybe not plastic sticks.
Well, you think if he's wielding plastic sticks, how good is his aim?
That is true.
But what would possess you to ever be a crime fighter, a masked crime fighter?
Well, I mean, if I lived in a very poor area, like a Prospect area, I mean, you'd have to do good.
So if you live in a bad area, you're saying everybody who lives there should dress up like a masked superhero.
All right, I'm not saying everybody should dress up, but I'm saying, I mean, someone's gotta do good around. I mean, someone's gotta have a reason to live, right?
So you need to dress up in a mask and to have a reason to live? I don't get your argument.
Some people might. Some people might have it so bad that the only thing they have is to do good for other people.
Okay, so you suggest that the best way to do good for other people is to dress up in a suit and walk around, not go to the soup kitchen, not help old ladies cross the street,
Well, maybe he's saving
not
those.
be a big brother, big sister thing?
He could be saving those old ladies from getting their purses stolen from them, getting their money taken from them that they worked so hard for.
At what point in your life would you don the mask and patrol the streets right now? What would push you that far?
What would push me that far?
Or what's stopping you from doing that right now?
Right now, I mean, I'd have to say we have a good criminal justice system at the moment, but if we ever were to lose
Kevin's laughing as you say we have a good criminal justice system. Cages, what is so comical right now?
I mean, our justice system is good, I'll give you that, but I mean, it just works way too slow and has too many holes in it, I think.
Well, a masked vigilante doesn't actually take justice himself. He just gets the people to the police. In theory, that's what Batman does.
And
That's
Spider-Man.
what Kick-Ass tried to do. But his friends had different ideas. But so I don't understand your argument.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. The kid obviously needs something to do, and I mean, he's not doing anything wrong. He's doing well for the community, so you know what? I say good for him.
What if he beats up someone with a ninja star and kills them by accident?
Well,
And then when they're just robbing somebody and he kills them.
you know what? If the police ain't doing anything about it, then he should be able to take justice into his own hands.
But if you saw somebody walking around the streets wearing that outfit, would you commit a crime right in front of them?
I wouldn't be afraid to.
Would it actually give you reason to commit a crime?
I feel like I would test him. I really want to know what he is made of.
So he'd be an enabler for you. He'd
For
He'd
me,
encourage you.
For me personally, yes, but I feel like for a lot of other people in the world, no. They know someone's watching, so they wouldn't.
Would you snicker and laugh as you see him?
I might chuckle a little bit.
Do you think a lot of other people would give him grief?
Yeah, I feel like people might throw eggs at him.
You know what's funny? I was at a mini golf course a few weeks ago, and there was a guy there, no joke, walking around with a cape on. Well,
why? What do you do? Did you not laugh at this human?
Wait, we were laughing in our group, but I mean, why would you walk around with a cape?
Maybe he thought he was a superhero.
And this was like a 16-year-old kid with his family.
Maybe he thought he was a 16-year-old superhero. I mean, honestly, why do people do what they do? Why do people...
But if you're a superhero, why would you have a cape to begin with? Wouldn't that limit your range? Wouldn't that hinder everything? What is the functionality of a cape?
I mean, usually
It's
you're supposed
stylish.
to say...
No, it's not.
Usually you're supposed to say...
Are we in
under wraps.
Victorian England? I mean, what is the functionality of a cape?
It is possible he could have been a LARPer. That is all I'm going to say.
Could have been a what?
A LARPer. You know, LARPing, that, like, fantasy, like, attack game thing there? That guy that the lightning bolt guy from that YouTube video. He's like, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. He's just throwing like fake beanbags at people.
Interesting. Anyways, yeah.
From the movie Role Models.
All right, so we're gonna get into our next topic, which is Jose Canseco, who we just read an article how he lost a fight to a 60-year-old.
All right, yeah, we just read about this online, and said he lost to a 6-year-old guy. I believe he was a former boxer, though. His name was
Gary Hogan.
Gary Hogan. And he lasted 4 rounds, which I guess...
It was a decision, too.
And it went to decision. He didn't get knocked out. The final decision was 39-37, which is a close fight, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, it's really got to be low for Jose. I mean...
Oh, a guy 14 years older than him. But, I mean, it's an older guy, 6 years old, but he was a boxer.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. He lost to a 60-year-old guy. I mean, come on. Jose, you got to be able to last longer. I mean, the guy even said in the post-fight that he felt like Jose got tired at the end, and he felt great.
Well, I wonder how good condition Jose's in after doing all those steroids for so many years. And doesn't that break down your body over time? Well, doesn't it hurt you over time?
Over time, I believe it does help break down your muscles, and it actually does harm you in the end. So
And it's been a while since he started.
Yeah, I mean, he is 46.
I wonder if he's still doing them.
He could be. He really could be. I don't want to start any arguments here, so I'm not gonna say he is or isn't. But
speaking of Jose Canseco, a lot of people in baseball circles can't stand the guy. But so far, it seems like he's the only person in baseball who's been honest in the last 20 years.
yeah, I mean, he straight out came out and admitted it. It was the only one so far. I can't recall anybody else that has.
And the only other people who have admitted it said that they only admitted it after being caught, and they said they did it for healing purposes. None of them said they did it to improve their game. Only Jose Canseco has been honest enough to say that.
Yeah, not any other people. Not any single one has admitted.
And some people are mad at him for being a rat and ratting out other players, which, granted, you can be mad at someone for doing that and betraying the trust of all the people they worked with. But pretty much every assertion he's made it ended up being true.
Well, not only that, but it's really helped cleaning up the game, and it helps the integrity of the game, and it really just, I feel, helps Major League Baseball move on from this steroid scandal era, if you will.
I wonder about his intentions, though. I mean, he wrote a book about it, so I mean...
Well, that was
he
years...
made all sorts of money.
He has made a lot of
this.
money after, but he made that book years after making a lot of his allegations true. But actually, one thing that I thought might be interesting, what if they allowed steroids in baseball? Wouldn't that... And players had the option to take it, but they weren't obligated. But don't you think that would make it a more exciting game overall if everybody was on steroids and everybody knew it and it was allowed?
Well, yes and no. I mean, yeah, it would probably make the game more exciting, but it just ruins the integrity of the game. You shouldn't be allowed to play professional sport and take steroids. I mean, anybody could become a very much popular sports star this way, and there's no reason for it. And there also is no reason for you to have your cell phone on.
Alright, I apologize. Phone's closed. I'm not even going to answer it. Alright, so Jose Canseco. Pretty interesting guy, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a long career, not only in baseball, but after baseball. He's written a book. I mean, he's been on some reality TV. I mean,
He was even mentioned in the first Ninja Turtles movie.
that is true.
By Raphael.
Oh, God. Good old Jose Canseco. Alright, we need to move on to something else here. We can't give him any more airtime.
One thing we were just talking about was the whole double rainbow guy on YouTube, which is pretty interesting. For those of you who don't know, it's this guy with a homemade camera, and he was filming. He was on some kind of drug, I'm sure, and he was filming himself looking at 2 rainbows. Well, a rainbow that was like a double rainbow.
Yeah, it says double rainbow right in the title.
He was pretty much like verbally orgasming all over the double rainbow.
It was funny because at one point he was laughing, and then instantly, right after, he started crying. I mean,
double rainbow.
I mean, we saw it. I mean, it was a pretty sight, but I don't think it's worth crying over.
If you go to YouTube and search double rainbow, you'll find it. And there's also a song where they auto-tune him doing it. And it's just pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, the song is hilarious, and we do recommend viewing the video because, it made us laugh. It's going to definitely make you guys laugh.
You know, Frenchie, you're doing such a good job so far today. I think Eric's job might be in jeopardy.
Well, I am the intern. I'm the main intern. I listen, obviously, to every episode. I put the episodes up on the website.
You've taken notes and studied.
It's a great opportunity. Whenever I get a chance to actually sit in with you guys, whether it's with just you, with just Eric, or both of you guys. I love doing it.
It's so far so good. If you make another mistake, you're back in the doghouse. You do understand this, right?
Yeah, like I said, I even came and publicly announced that I messed up that episode. I publicly announced it. It wasn't just like I just told you guys. I told the whole world. So I took.
And you better appease Josh by trying to keep the commercials a bit more level.
Yeah, and I am doing as much as I can for you, Josh. So I hope it all works out.
All right.
And speaking of commercials, shouldn't we be taking one pretty soon, or?
You know what? That's not a half bad idea. I'm here with my dog.
Woof woof bow wow.
I'm here with Fido.
Woof woof bow wow.
We're going on vacation. Me and my family.
Woof woof bow wow.
No, not you, Fido. Fido stays home, but he's gonna be watched by the best place ever to pet sit, which is Paw to Paw Promise. So Fido
Woof woof bow wow.
gets to stay home and say
Woof woof bow wow.
with the pet sitter that we found at pawtopawpromise.com.
Woof woof bow wow.
Yeah. Alright, we're back. So, basically, I think we should start this segment with another email. So, we got 2 emails from our good friend Minna, and one of them is addressed to Eric, actually, talking about his girl situation, or lack thereof. And so we're going to save that one. That one's put on hold until Eric's back on the show, barring a Twilight Marathon doesn't start on TV.
Yeah, if that happens, then unfortunately, Minna, your email will not be answered, or I'll have to answer it personally.
Hopefully the vagina monologues don't start up, or else Eric's going to end up over there watching that.
Oh, boy.
But anyways, so Minna says, I would like to know when the dance-off is going to take place. Also, I think that John should also do a little dance with you, Eric. It would be great practice before his wedding. Good work. Smooches. Alright, well, thank you, Minna. So, what do you guys think about that? Do you think... the dance-off, for those of you who don't know out there, stemmed from a discussion that Eric and I were having several episodes ago, in which we were discussing how I was getting ready for my wedding, and one thing I was worried about was the dancing. And Eric was talking about how much he hates dancing, and how he'd to dance off against a listener. And then someone actually accepted his challenge and said he would do a dance-off with him. So Patrick, whenever you're ready, come on down to the studio and we'll film this. And so Minna, we don't know when it's going to be. This is all up to Patrick. So Patrick, if you're listening, please send us an email or come on in, and we'd love to do that.
Yeah, you know what, Patrick? I called out Phil Kessel on this live, so you should at least be able to come back your words up and come to the dance-off.
So are you suggesting that Patrick might be a coward?
I'm suggesting he might be a little afraid of losing to Eric.
I highly doubt that would happen.
Hey,
unless if Eric can learn some dance moves at Twilight.
Can I tell you right now, Eric challenged him, and we haven't heard a response yet, so what does that tell you?
Well, no, Patrick did respond to he's the only listener who did respond to Eric's query.
Oh, he did respond.
Yes,
okay.
But he hasn't actually come down yet.
Okay, well, he still hasn't come down, so therefore...
So you gotta put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly what I'm trying to say.
Alright, and as for Minna's request that I do a little dance too, we'll see.
Maybe you and I can have a little dance-off to build your spirits, because I am a terrible dancer.
Are you talking to me or to Minna?
Not to you, to Mr. Johnny over
Okay,
here.
well, I'll have to have a lot of drinks first.
Yeah.
Before I dance with you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if we had like a dance-off, it could help build your your self-esteem with the whole dancing thing, and then you'll feel good going into the
I
wedding.
don't think dancing with you would ever make me feel better about myself, Frenchie.
You never know, all right? You never know.
And it's a step up from dancing with cages, but and
I think it's a little more than a step up.
that's true. It's quite the leap.
One
Do I
leap
have to
from man.
challenge you to a dance up, Mr.
One
Frank?
leap-
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Is Cage's stepping up to the plate?
Cages just stepped up to the plate. You know what, Cages? I accept.
All right, wow. We have our first challenge. I think on the next sunny day, we will have a dance-off outside, and we'll post it to a Podcast Revolution account on Vimeo.com.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
This will be something interesting. I mean, I know Cages is actually quite has a lot of prowess on the snowboarding, but when it comes to dancing, I don't think I've ever seen Cages dance, and I'm quite afraid to. I think worlds might collide and stars might blow up, and dogs will start marrying cats. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Pigs might fly.
Actually, did you? Well, you kind of I just gave away the punchline, but a lot of people said that once there was a black president, pigs would fly, and then not long after Obama became president, the swine flu.
Oh, ba-dunk-dunk.
Exactly. So, yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So, what did you want to talk about, Frenchie?
Well, we were discussing earlier, and we had found that there seems to be a Michael Jackson impersonator. I mean, there was a Elvis impersonator. Obviously, I mean, there's not one. There's been many, but now there's shortly after Michael Jackson died. There's now a Michael Jackson impersonator. I mean, what does that tell you?
See, the thing that Cages and I were wondering, is he white or is he black?
I mean, we really don't know. I mean, I believe he's a white male.
Is this
I mean,
like,
but it could be makeup. I mean, you never know.
is this 80s Michael Jackson? Is this 90s Michael Jackson? Is
Is
this
it nose falling off Michael Jackson? I mean, we just don't know.
I mean, do we want to go to the park and find out? It might be worth our money. It might be a good laugh.
I mean, he could be a great impersonator. I mean, Elvis had many. He really did. And great singers have had many impersonators, great impersonators. Obviously, Michael Jackson was one of the greatest of all time in the pop business. So, I mean, you know what? I mean, why not have him have an impersonator as well? I mean, it only makes sense.
Now, if he is white, do you think this will spark a race riot or something? Or?
Well, then he'd be fitting in with 99% of the people in New Hampshire, so I don't think there's too much of a population to riot against
True.
it.
yeah, there's like about 2% or so.
And it's not a very diverse area, so if you're listening out in a more diverse area and you feel your area is too saturated with your own kind, come up here and invade us. We need you. And I hardly have any black friends. I have some, but I need more. So fix that. I mean, Eric's as close as I got, pretty much.
And I have like 2 that I work with myself. So I mean, we need more. We absolutely need more. So
Come up here and I'll teach you how to play hockey, and maybe. I don't know what sport you play. I'm gonna be
Even basketball,
I'm gonna be stereotypical and say basketball. Maybe you can help find the appreciation for me in basketball that Cages can never bring up.
you can come play for Frenchie's basketball team. I mean, we do need help. We are only 1-4 right now. So
But it is funny how let me stop swallowing my tongue. How it perpetuates the stereotype. How whenever I have played hockey with African Americans, they do lousy. I mean, it's funny. They're amazing at every other sport we play: football, baseball, basketball. But when it comes to hockey, it's a mess.
yeah, well, John, I don't think you have played with Jerome McGinley. So
I have not played with Jerome. I would love to play with Jerome McGinley.
I think Jerome McGinley would school you. I mean, he would school me too. Don't get me wrong.
You think he'd school me? I know he'd school me.
I mean, he's got to be one of the best, if not the best, African American player there is in the NHL. So
I encourage all of our African American listeners to come up and prove me wrong and totally dominate me at hockey. Because that would be awesome.
yeah, I mean, I personally played with only one that was really good. He did play for the Manitoba Moose, which is an AHL affiliate. So I mean, yeah, please come down.
It's funny. I played in a city that has a decent African American population, and the hockey league I was in, no African Americans, and there were 2 Asians, which this was shocking to me. And one of them was a defenseman. He was an asshole. I hated that kid. In the championship game, he sat on the puck outside the blue line, and he wouldn't get off, so I nailed him, and he got a penalty. It was great.
Well, you know what? He did deserve it. I mean, just wasting time sitting on the puck. I mean, come on. Who does that?
Damn Asian
Championship game?
defenseman.
Oh, I mean, wise strategy, but it's just not something you do.
It's wise to sit somewhere until you get hit.
Yeah, he was actually kneeling on the puck, but he
Kneeling on the
wouldn't
puck.
move.
He was just trying to waste time. I'm assuming
And
they
it
were
was
winning
a-
at this point.
It was a clean hit. I ducked down low enough so it was shoulder to shoulder.
Were they winning at this point? Is this why
Yes,
he was
they were
wasting
winning,
time?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good strategy, but you know what? It's dirty. You don't. That's like.
It's not cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Delay of game.
Exactly.
And you're there to play the game, not to sit
You're
on
not
the
there
puck.
to just keep the puck away and not. That's. I mean, that's not right. It's kind of
But
chicken, coward, if you would.
He got what he had coming to him, so
He
I'll
got
leave it at
nailed.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know his name, but we're on good terms now.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's done and it's over with. So, let's just move on.
All right, so actually, one thing that Josh said he wanted to hear, and we'll appease him. He said he wanted to hear some embarrassing moments. So, Kevin, what's an embarrassing moment you've had?
Oh, there are so many.
I know that. So why don't you tell us one?
I can't think of one on the spot.
All right. How about Frenchie? You get to one, then we'll get back to Cage's.
All
What he
right.
thinks.
I clearly have one that comes to me more than ever. I at one point had gone to a Bruins game, and I was on the jumbotron. And while I was on the jumbotron, I was
Were you picking your nose?
picking my nose,
Did you know you were on the jumbo?
and I did not know. And my little brother turned to me and said, "Michael, look up." And I looked up, and my finger was wedged in my nose. And I just smiled and
Frenchie.
fist bumped. And I didn't even know what to do. I was in.
Were you knuckle deep?
I wasn't knuckle deep, but I was in there. I'm not gonna lie. I had a really bad itch.
So it was an itch. It wasn't a.
I wasn't digging for gold, but obviously it looked that way. And
Did the people around you? Did you hear laughs roaring from around the stadium?
I heard laughter roaring from the TD Bank North Garden.
Were you red in the face at this point?
I can tell you right now, I was as red as I've ever been.
What'd you do with your finger once you removed it from your nose? Did you place it up in the air?
I put my right hand up in the air. I just pointed.
For victory?
Oh, it was embarrassing. I'll tell you that right now.
That is pretty embarrassing. All right, Cages, back to you. What's something embarrassing that's happened to you?
I don't know if I can beat that.
Anything of that magnitude?
Not quite.
All right. Well, what do you got?
Just mostly small stuff. Me making myself look like a dumbass.
Well, you're pretty good at that. So,
Yes.
so what do you got for what? Tell us a great time when you felt like a dumbass. You're looking like one right now.
Yeah, exactly.
This must be pretty embarrassing that he can't even come up with an
Yes,
embarrassing
yes,
moment
yes.
on live radio.
I mean, even the most interesting man in the world had an embarrassing moment just to see what it felt like, or an awkward moment. Same thing.
Come on, you had to have had at least one.
Oh yeah, I've had funny ones that have stuck with me. I can't remember off the top of my head though. Unfortunately.
You blocked them from your memory.
Yes,
They were traumatic
exactly.
experiences.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'll say a really short one that happened to me. As I used to work at a supermarket, and I was going outside to take my break, and I was walking, and I was strolling, saying hi to my employees, my fellow employees, and then bam! I walked right into the big glass plated wall. Like whoever polished it did such a good job that I couldn't tell it was there. And afterwards, you could definitely tell it was there since there was some nice marks on it. But I hate that when the windows are too clean.
I mean, yeah, you see in commercials all the time, people like try and walk through slider doors, and they're so clean that they literally just walk headfirst right into them and they fall backwards. Was that kind of moment?
I think there should be a law against making windows that clean. You should have some dirt on it.
You need to see. I mean, broken glass is just—it's bad. You don't want to walk right into it and break it and get cut up and everything. I mean, it's just bad news.
All right, Cages, has anything embarrassing happened to you while you were snowboarding?
I've had a couple moments when in border cross, when I pulled out a little too early and I hit the stop gate in front.
Usually it's a
Prevents
good
you
idea.
from going.
Usually it's good when you pull out early, but
But don't.
Thank you, Frenchie, for your little role right there. So yeah. So I bet a lot of embarrassing things have happened to Eric too. I mean, right now,
Right now,
at
he's pretty
Twilight.
embarrassing.
That's pretty embarrassing.
I couldn't admit being at Twilight. I mean, I will admit I saw the first movie. I never read any of the books, but after that I stopped. I haven't seen the second one, and I will not see the second or the third one that is currently
It's
out
still
right
pretty
now,
bad
so.
that you admitted seeing the first
Well,
one
you know what?
on the radio. Now everyone knows.
Well, I gave it a shot, and I'll tell you right now, it was horrible. It was a horrible movie, and I will not see the second one, third one, or the next one.
Well, based on what you saw in the first one, are you on Team Edward?
Well, I have to say Team Edward because that is my middle name. So, I mean, if I had to pick one, I wouldn't really. I'm not into the whole Team Edward, Team Jacob thing, but we really need to stop talking about this. This is just stupid. It's getting too much airtime.
I bet Eric's enjoying himself right now.
Eric,
Actually, you know what's funny is whenever I watch movies with Eric, he gobbles down popcorn. Like well, I saw a movie with him a few weeks ago, and by the end of the previews, our large tub, we got the large tub of popcorn, and it was empty. And I'd say at least 60% of that was Eric. I mean, he's a small guy, and he's in good shape, but my God, he can indulge himself with popcorn.
He is the Mitch Monster.
He is Eric Mitch Monster Mitchell.
I mean, he just devoured it. He put that in there like Kobayashi, which, another thing we should probably talk about, the whole hot dog scandal on July 4th.
Actually, I was out of the country when this happened, so I missed the entire sequence. What happened?
Well,
with Joey, I know Joey Chestnut won, but what was the scandal? What happened?
All right. Well, if you do not know, apparently
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, every year at for 4th of July at Coney Island, they do the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and for a while it's competitive eating. And this Asian guy, Kobayashi, who has been dominant, but the last several years, Joey Chestnut, this big fat American who looks like he'd be good at it, has been very good at it.
You need to stop with the big fat thing, because he's really not that big, and he's really not that fat. I mean, look at a picture. He's not much.
He's like Kevin
more bigger
James
than I am.
size.
He's got a
No,
bit of
he's
a
smaller
gut.
than that. He's smaller than Kevin. He's probably a little bigger than I am, and I'm 205 pounds. So I mean, he's probably like 215, 230 at the most. And I mean, he gobbles down those things like there's no tomorrow.
Well, do you know that these technically in the rules you're not supposed to practice during the year, but they actually do practice.
Oh yeah.
They have coaches. They have a complete schedule.
They actually sign a contract and make money doing this.
And so what's the deal with Kobayashi this year? What was the scandal?
But yeah, like I was saying, apparently the International Federation of Competitive Eating has become the new NFL because Kobayashi would not sign a contract. He held out because he was not being paid enough money. So they told him if he didn't sign the contract before July 4th, before the big hot dog eating contest, that he was not going to be able to compete. And when the competition began, he was not there. He had not signed the contract. But after it was all said and done, he tried to storm the stage. Obviously, now at a hot dog eating contest, you gotta laugh. I'm sorry.
It's kind of sad when the highlight of your life is shoving wieners in your mouth.
But he stormed the stage, security retained him, and he was arrested on the spot.
Was this live on TV? Did you see him getting arrested?
It was on national television. He did storm the stage. He did get detained by officials, and he was arrested on the spot. I mean, and the fans were cheering him on. They were cheering, "Let him eat. Let him eat." I mean, what is this world coming to?
Well, hopefully he doesn't get booked for any bigger crimes. Otherwise, he'll be swallowing something else. But
we don't need to talk about that on radio, John.
No, we don't. I mean, the food they serve in prison is disgusting.
It is terrible. I wouldn't want to see him have a competition.
Based on what I've seen on TV, it looks like slop. So yeah,
looks like pigs eat better than they do.
I'm sure pigs eat quite well. All right, so it looks like we'll be getting into our last commercial break here. Now we'll be getting into the home stretch. So stay tuned. Jenks.
In the 90s, there was Mortal Kombat. In the early 2000s, there was Soul Calibur. And now, in the year 2010, we have Dungeon Fighter Online. Woo! Brought to you by Nexon, this new PC online game requires no quarters. You fight in the dungeon online. Yeah! Online fighter! Dungeon fighter! Yes.
And we're back. All right, so another good commercial for fighting dungeon. What was that?
It was Dungeon Fighter.
Dungeon Fighter. All right. Well,
Newest PC online game.
You're an authority on Dungeon Fighter.
Yeah, I mean, we just looked at it. It looked really good, so I just can't wait for it to come out.
It is out.
All right, well,
It's an
man,
online game.
I can't wait to play it.
All right, it's free. So if anybody wants to play against Frenchie in Dungeon Fighter, his screen name will probably have the name Frenchie in it.
Yeah, it'll be like Frenchie 2010 or Frenchie PPR or something. We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, so usually at the end of an episode, Eric and I do our recommendations. But we're gonna change it up on this one a little bit. We're still gonna do recommendations, but we're gonna do it on vacation spots since it's summer. And I mean, most of you probably have your vacations planned already. But if you have a last-minute vacation time off, here's some suggestions. KJs, why don't you start us off?
If I had to suggest a place, probably be a little but Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I went there the summer before 8th grade for my dad's 50th birthday.
So what if people don't know about Hawaii? What's something they should know that most people wouldn't know?
I mean, it's obviously a beautiful area. You can do anything. I had some minor surf lessons out there, which was fun. Tiring as heck, but
And
fun.
Hawaii is beautiful as everyone says it is.
From what I saw of it, yes.
What makes it so beautiful?
Just the location. I mean, and there's no other place like it, obviously. So,
Okay. So you think people should go to Hawaii?
yes.
All right. Fair enough. All right, moving on. Frenchie, what's your recommendation?
Well, I mean, this is probably going to sound stereotypical. Not really stereotypical, but more like everybody wants to do it. But I'm going to have to say Las Vegas. City of Lights, you know, I mean, you go there, you can do anything you want out there. In Nevada, everything's basically legal. You can go see a UFC fight. You can go gamble, strip clubs, you know, anything. Everything is legal out in Nevada. So you want to just go have a great vacation. Not necessarily a family vacation. Even family, because they have the Grand Canyon just miles away. And
Actually, they've been working for the last several years to make it a more family-friendly place.
So yeah, I mean, I have to say Las Vegas. I mean, why not? I mean, you got the Grand out there. You got everything.
I mean, it's the only place where you can strike it rich and become homeless all in the same weekend.
That's true. Then yeah. So Frenchie, have you been there before?
I personally have not. I am working on getting there because I feel like it's a place that everyone needs to go to at least once in their lifetime, at least, if not more. It's a great place.
So you feel all right with yourself to recommend something that you've never experienced to other
Yes,
people?
I do, because...
Just like how Eric recommended people watch The Human Centipede before he actually watched it.
Yeah, well, that was a terrible idea. No offense, Mitch Monster. But, no, I mean, everybody goes to Vegas at least once, and, like,
Everybody
KJ
goes to Vegas at least once. That's probably
wants
not
to
an
go.
accurate... All right.
Wants to go.
Okay.
Just
I mean,
because what happens
like-
there stays there.
Like Kay just said, I mean, you can go there, become rich, and become homeless.
That's not a
24.
very enticing thing.
24 hours later. I mean, it's you gotta go there.
So you got to go there to become homeless? Is that what you're saying?
If you're a gambling addict,
you could
stay
become
away.
rich. Yeah, if you're an addict, you probably should stay away. But they got everything out there. Like UFC mostly is the thing I would be turned on to. But
Well, I think the exciting thing about gambling is just like the exciting thing in sports is how unpredictable it is. And you could potentially become rich, which is great, but there's high risk and high reward. Yeah, and you could become homeless, kind of like Cage's.
yeah, I mean, what can you do? I mean, hopefully you don't have a problem and you can just enjoy yourself out there, spend a couple hundred, maybe $1,000 out there, and just have fun.
Or you
Maybe
could
you
be
come back with money.
You could
and
be like the guys in The Hangover.
come back with 80 grand. You can count cards of blackjack. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
All right. Well, speaking of casinos, there's a casino at the place I'll be recommending, which is Niagara Falls, and the Canada side. So the American side is good too, but the Canada side, there's a whole village and the whole city with a Hard Rock Cafe and everything, and you get a better view of the falls.
John, are you saying that Canada is better than America?
I'm saying in terms of this particular tourist attraction, yes, Canada exceeds America.
He is recommending Canada over America, guys. He is un-American.
If I was un-American, would I be making a podcast in America?
True point.
But you did
that's
make
actually-
part of your podcast in Canada, too.
That was
didn't
the
you?
Canada special, Cages.
It was the Canada special. I did edit it, and I did put it on the website, so...
But you weren't invited.
But I
No,
was
actually-
invited to Canada. I just, at last minute, I could not get the time off work, so I couldn't go.
It was shameful.
I was disappointed. I really wish I could have been there at CN Tower.
Next year, you're gonna have to try to go to Canada. But we're not trying to talk about Canada. We're talking about Niagara Falls right now.
Yeah.
And the falls are it's a natural beauty, and then the whole town that goes along with it is awesome too.
All
As long
right.
as you don't get in a barrel and go over the falls.
That would be pretty difficult to do.
I think people have tried
people
to do
have
it.
done
so.
it, but I mean, did you see anybody doing it while you were there?
Unfortunately, I did not. It would have been an interesting sight to see, but unfortunately, you wouldn't see the aftermath because there's so much mist that you can't see anything. Hence why they have that boat called Made of the Mist that goes up to the mist.
Would you
Yeah.
necessarily want to see the results of that?
There'd be a natural curiosity. I'd be wondering if he made it, if he didn't make it, and I'd like have to stare for a minute and hold my cheeks and go, oh no, and then I'd wait, and then I'd either see him coming out with his barrel victorious, or I'd see him coming out in splinters.
Yeah, I mean, would you really see him coming out if he didn't make it? I mean, the barrel would probably explode as it hit, and you wouldn't see him. I mean, who knows?
Why are we talking about a guy going down Niagara Falls on a barrel?
Because, I mean, it's got to be a curiosity for a lot of our listeners, not just us, but, I mean, for a lot of people, you see, like, the old TV shows and people going in barrels over waterfalls, and, I mean, I just really would like to see that at least once in my life.
Can you name one TV show in which a character goes...
I can't name it. I know I have seen it, though. I right now, I just can't recall.
The only time I remember doing that was in some crappy Muppets video game for the regular Nintendo. And the whirlpools are difficult to avoid, too. That game sucked.
Yeah. Oh, man. Terrible game.
You don't even know what game I'm talking about.
Doesn't matter if you say it sucks. You have to be pretty accurate. You are accurate in most of your assumptions. So
Assessments.
assessments, yeah, whatever.
Well, my assumptions are accurate, too, but I don't think that's what you were trying to say.
I meant assessments.
Okay, yeah, I know that. But see, I'm also right in that assumption. That, yes.
You are correct.
So, this has been a pretty good episode. I feel that we got a decent amount of conversation in.
I mean,
And I don't even think we really need Eric anymore.
Yeah, we do miss Eric dissing on the feminine race. But for the most part, we were able to keep the show going, and we got a lot of different topics in. And I think we did a good job tonight.
Actually, I hope a lot of our listeners send in a lot of email saying how great the show was without Eric, just to make him feel bad, even if you don't mean it.
Yeah, because he did go and watch DeGrotto and Twilight today.
Degrassi.
Degrassi, whatever.
Shows you how
I'm
much
sorry.
he cares about that
exactly.
show.
I could give two
Two
us
hoots.
about it,
You
yeah.
give a hoot.
I don't want to use it in proper language, so two
And
hoots.
it was funny, when we were in Canada, he looked for Degrassi Street, which just made me shake my head.
And he was shameful that he couldn't find it. He was disappointed.
That's one of his quests for next year, is to find Degrassi Street. Oh, Mitch Monster.
If you're out there listening, Mitch Monster, enjoy Twilight.
But I do have an update for those of you who have been curious. The cafeteria girl who Eric is interested in, now his lunchtime has been bumped, so now he doesn't eat lunch with her anymore. So he has to talk to her in the morning. So hopefully we'll get an update soon on how this pursuit is gone, and hopefully perhaps she likes Twilight and Degrassi as well, which could be a good topic of conversation for Eric.
He's probably with her tonight watching Twilight, and they watch Degrassi all day long, probably. I mean, who knows?
I don't know, Eric with a girl this fast?
That is true. It is a true point, so maybe not.
Good old Mitch Monster. Alright, well, since we actually got emails for this episode, I will return to my form and say thank you, listeners. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sending our emails. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, and I'd like to thank Cages, Frenchie, and myself, because without us, the show wouldn't be possible. And basically, we're number one.
Yeah, I mean, we do a good job for you guys. We try very hard to put on a good radio show, and we just hope we did that today.
I know if Eric was here, he'd be saying our listeners aren't important and we're the only thing that matters, which that doesn't necessarily reflect the aims of the show, but sometimes it really does feel that way, that the listeners don't matter.
But they really do, and I hope that we can turn that corner. And Eric, if you are listening, that you do start caring about the listeners, because they are what make the show.
And listener participation is great. It helps get us topics, and it helps, sometimes it's fun to make fun of them when we read their emails, and it's just a lot of fun.
So if you guys could send more emails to us, that would be appreciated, that we can get you more involved in the show.
Alright, so let's wrap up the show. Say goodbye in some foreign language like Eric usually does.
Alright, Auf Wiedersehen.
Au revoir.
Alright, das vidanya.
Oh, pants down.